there is a part of your brain that is slowly turning to stone, not a metaphor. A real physical hardening, happening right now, deep near the center of your head, to the small gland the ancients called the seat of the soul. It has a name, calcification, and almost no one is talking about it. The pineal gland sits buried deep near the center of the brain, about the size of a grain of rice, hidden in a place ancient anatomists could barely reach. For most of human history, we did not fully understand what it was doing, and yet, across cultures, across symbols, across thousands of years, people kept pointing inward toward this same mysterious center, the inner eye, the seat of the soul, the place where something sees. They treated it as one of the most sacred points in the human body. And today, in most adults, it is slowly hardening into something closer to bone. For a long time, this was treated as nothing, just aging, just a quirk of the body, the way joints stiffen, the way hair grays. Calcification appears on brain scans as a small, bright spot near the center of the skull, and for decades, doctors barely gave it a second glance. A curiosity, a marker, nothing more. But then researchers started asking a harder question. Not whether the gland calcifies, but what it was collecting as it did. And the answer was something no one expected. Of the tissues researchers measured, one place stood apart. Not your skeleton, not your teeth. This gland, buried near the center of your brain. The substance was fluoride. In research out of the University of Surrey, the human pineal gland was measured directly. Its soft tissue held more fluoride than other soft tissues measured in the body, and its hardened, calcified core held astonishing levels, higher than ordinary bone, higher than enamel, and higher than what researchers expected to find in a gland buried so deep inside the brain. It draws fluoride in, and it holds onto it at levels researchers did not expect to find there. Why there? Why this gland? Of all the places in the body, why the one the ancients marked as sacred? The one they called the inner eye? The one they said could see? No one fully knows. But the clues keep gathering. In controlled animal studies, early fluoride exposure was linked with lower melatonin output and earlier maturation. Melatonin is the gland's primary work, the rhythm of sleep, the tracking of light and dark, the quiet signal that tells your body when night has come. And the substance the gland collects appears in those studies to interfere with exactly that. A gland that tracks the boundary between light and darkness, slowly hardening, quietly collecting the one thing that seems to dim its own function. This is the part that should give you pause. The old traditions that pointed to this gland did not describe it as something that hardens and goes quiet. They described it as something that opens, a center of perception, a point of inner clarity, something that could be cultivated, kept clear, kept awake. Again and again, those traditions built practices around tending that inner clarity. Stillness, clean water, careful diet, attention to light and dark, breath, silence, the daily tending of something they believed was easy to lose and difficult to recover. For centuries, we dismissed much of it as superstition, ritual without reason, symbol without substance. But now we find a gland that genuinely hardens over a lifetime, a gland that genuinely collects fluoride, a gland tied to the rhythm of light and darkness, sleep and waking, night and day, a gland sitting near the very place those traditions called sacred. And suddenly, the old practices do not look so empty. Maybe they were not describing magic. Maybe they were describing care, the tending of a real physical part of the body that they understood, in their own language, could either stay clear or slowly close. Sit with what that means. There is a small gland near the center of you. The oldest traditions on earth called it sacred. They spent lifetimes learning to keep it clear. Modern science has found it hardening, collecting, quietly changing in most adults alive today. What it would mean to keep it clear, what that clarity actually is, what it opens, what it is for, belongs to a question we are only beginning to ask. The ancients spent everything learning to tend the light at the center. Maybe it is time we remembered how. No pressure, just presence.